Good morning, YouTube. The bane of my existence is back. We're going to try and fix this E-Diff issue on the Ferrari F430 that's been just frustrating the hell out of me.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan, and we are at my dealership, NG Supercars, and this Ferrari F430 will be for sale once it's actually running correctly. So we had a few issues with it. The first one was that the transmission was dropping out of fourth gear, going into neutral, having some weird behavior, and we fixed that. We replaced the squid, the actuators, and got those working correctly, so everything's happy with the shifting. Also, we had to adjust the PIS when we first got it, but that's no big deal. Then, while trying to fix the squid, apparently someone put way too much oil in this thing, and so it blew oil back into the system, and well, maths got screwed up, and I had to clean them off, and now that's running correctly. So it wasn't idling, and all sorts of weird issues. Finally, when we were fixing the squid, it probably introduced some gunk or something into the E-Diff, and now the E-Diff solenoid is acting up. So what we're gonna do today is take out the E-Diff solenoid, clean it, put it back in, flush the heck out of this thing, just tons of flushing, and pray that it fixes it, because, well, the E-Diff solenoid is like $450+ on the cheap side. Usually it's around like $600 or $700 plus installation, all that stuff. So typically you're probably looking at well over $1,000 to have a dealership or service center do this. Also of note, I wanted to point out that when you overfill these things on the F1 fluid, it pukes it out eventually. So we moved the car around the other day, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's a bunch of ATF on the ground right there. Sweet. So we get to clean that up as well. Anyway, let's get this thing up in the air. We're gonna have to pull off the bottom panel in order to pop off the E-Diff sensor, the E-Diff solenoid. This thing, man. All right, let's get at it. All right, before we get started, I just want to show you, this is the overflow tube for the F1 pump, and when it gets too much, it pukes it out. Now, the interesting thing is, normally this thing dangles a little bit lower, but for some reason this one is too short, and I don't know, the hose up top is just too short, so it won't go past the diffuser. Normally it sits below the diffuser, or, you know, kind of sits down there, and then you don't get this mess when it pukes it onto it, which sucks. So now I gotta clean that diffuser, and it makes a big old mess because it's just puking here, and it, you know, got all over the place. Anyway, so here is the E-Diff solenoid that we've been talking about. So you can see here the two lines for the E-Diff, and yeah, so we're gonna need to move this oh, there we go. We can pull that out of the way, and there, disconnect that. All right, now that that's disconnected, we just gotta unscrew it, and oh boy, it's gonna drop out a bunch of F1 fluid when we do, so let's be ready for that. All right, I'm not really sure how to get a good camera angle on this thing, but I got my oil catch pan, because it's gonna drop some F1 fluid as soon as we pop this thing loose. Oh man, it's 27mm, but oh boy, this wrench, oh, there we go. Getting this wrench in there is kind of a pain. Fear is this thing's in there so tight. I might have to use a crescent wrench. Shit. Why did I put it in there so tight? I don't know. I can't get another angle on it. I think I was gonna pop off this line. But okay, let me show what it's working with. The problem is I can't get a wrench in it because it hits the frame, but maybe I can get a wrench in if it goes up. I don't know, so maybe if I pop off this line. God, I hate these things because they're on there super tight. All right, so we moved back up top, and the reason is I'm gonna disconnect the E-Diff lines from up here. That way it won't just keep draining out everything that's in here. So these are two quick disconnects right here. Okay, one right there. Just gotta keep them organized, which one's which, and one right there. Now, that should help eliminate, or, you know, not eliminate, but limit how much fluid actually drains out of this thing. So only drain out what's in the lines and stuff, which would be much better than having it drain out all of what's in the reservoir. All right, so that's a 19, whoops. All right. Yeah, if I remember right, these are really long banjos. Jesus Christ. That's interesting. It's got aluminum pressure washers instead of copper. Huh, that line's been off before, for sure. Let's see if I can get it better grip now. It moved a little. So I was farting around with this thing for probably 20 minutes, and I ended up using vice grips, and that worked. Finally, something had enough grip, so I can finally start getting this thing loose. What a pain in the ass this thing is. You just can't get grip on it for shit. It's like the O-ring on it is like seized up in there or something. There. There we go, finally. Alright, well, here's my solenoid. Alright YouTube, so I took a regular 12-volt battery, well, I took an anti-gravity battery, which, by the way, we sell on our website, normalguysupercar.com. Use the code NGS10, it hooks up with 10% off. Badass lithium batteries that are much, much lighter and they last a lot longer. So I hooked up some wires to the battery and I just touched them to the 2 pins because it's just a simple on-off solenoid. And I got it to click, and when it clicked it spat out some fluid and stuff. And then I also took it over to the air compressor and just blew out all the different holes on it. So I don't know if that's going to help or not. I think I'm going to toggle it a few more times. You can actually hear it. So if you listen real carefully, you can actually hear it toggle. I'm going to get these real careful not to touch anything other than the 2 pins. Hear it? I think I almost want to like turn it on and then blow air through it while it's on. Wish I had some alligator clips. Yeah, there's still some gunk in there. I did see some debris on the screen when I first got this thing out. Okay YouTube, so I activated the solenoid and then blew it out using compressed air, and some more crap came out. So let's try using this first before we replace it, because again, this is like $500 or so. If this didn't work, well then, oh well, we'll just have to replace it anyways. Of course, the other thing is I'm not gonna put it on with like 80 ugga-duggas so that it can actually come back out, because it does have O-rings, so it should seal pretty nicely once it's in there. All right YouTube, put back in the solenoid. Got new crush washers for the banjo fitting, copper this time instead of the aluminum. I don't think you should use aluminum on these because it got munged up in the threads. Now I need to put this thing back into place, cinch it down, then we can get up top and bleed the heck out of it. Okay, this thing's so annoying. There's a bolt right next to where the banjo bolt comes out, so you have to hand screw it until you can get it far enough on to get a socket on there. God, this is the longest banjo bolt in history. Alright, well, it's time to bleed. Alright YouTube, so we reconnected the E-Diff lines right here. We've got our bleed hose connected to the little bleeder down there as a 7mm, and we've turned on the ignition but not turned on the car, and we've connected my launch X431 computer. Let's engage E-Diff bleed mode. Okay, go to differential system, actuation test, E-Diff bleed, and turn it on. Okay, so now we're going to turn on the car, and then, oh, I can actually hear it. That's interesting. Well, we're going to turn on the car and bleed it some. It's definitely pumping. I'm going to try cracking it right now with nothing on it. Oh, look at that. It is bleeding with the engine off. Huh. Check it out. So maybe the whole thing about having it on is not true? Well, let's bleed it a bunch. Might add some more fluid. Alright, well, let's turn it on. Alright, it bled it some, but I'm gonna turn on the engine and let it bleed a lot. All right, we bled a whole bunch, so let's take it out for another drive. Let's see if it goes any better. Well, YouTube, I've been driving around for a while, shifting like crazy, and no E-Diff errors. Oh my gosh, I think we finally fixed it. So I think it did just get some junk stuck in the solenoid. Blowing it out seems to have fixed it. And blowing out and bleeding it a lot. A whole lot. So I need to get back before this thunderstorm hits. Yes. Oh my God, we finally have a fully functional 430 for you. Yes! Well, YouTube, it only took like 3 or 4 videos and 5 different things, and we finally have this damn thing working correctly. Oh my God, yay! So now one of you can buy it. So it's not listed on the website. We still gotta clean it up, take pictures. So I mean, it just got rained on. It's gonna be dirty for a little bit. I need to wash it, detail it, whatever. We'll get pictures up on the website pretty soon, so check it out on ngsupercars.com soon. But if you're interested in it, send us an email, sales@ngsupercars.com. We can discuss it and see if you want to buy it. Oh man, thank God, finally done with this thing. Oh, I'm super happy about that though, because I really want to just see how bad is this F1 system. Is it really as bad as everyone says? Because, you know, right now it's kind of like, oh, F1 system goes bad, rip it out, convert it, which not everyone wants to do. So I wanted to see how much work it would take to resolve an F1 system that's misbehaving. Admittedly, it would be pretty expensive. To take it to a dealership, this probably would have cost about $15,000, I'm guessing. Maybe $12,000. If you really got lucky, $10,000. So it's pretty expensive. You're already over halfway there to doing a conversion. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Check out our website, normalguysupercar.com, if you want to buy any parts or services. Use the code NGS10. But that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. It's going to be sweet.